Absolutely. I'm Deborah Holtz. I have a publishing company, a small publishing independent company in Mexico called Trince. And we have been publishing art books, popular culture, children, nonfiction for 20 years. And besides this, I have been the president of the Alliance of Independent Publishers in Mexico.
And the independent publishing movement, and let's call it a movement, in
It is
Mexico,
a movement.
can you talk a little bit about that and how that's come to pass? What's happening?
Absolutely. I think as in Mexico, as in other parts in the world, the independent publishers, which are the small publishers, some are not so small, but they saw that it was necessary to associate in order to have like a space, because of these mergings and transnational companies were occupying all the spaces, libraries, bookshops, etc. No, so in our case, in 2004. We decided to form this alliance. It was 12 of us, 12 small publishers, and we've been working ever since to have a presence and to make what we call bibliodiversity.
Yes.
I don't know if that translates like that.
Oh, no, it does.
Bibliodiversity, exactly. But reality, because contents tend to standardize, the type of books tend to standardize that are dictated by the big groups right now. So we also belong to the Alliance of Independent Publishers, the International Alliance. They have their base in Paris. They were founded in 2002 with funding by the UNESCO.
Okay.
And so we belong to that alliance as well. And this is great because thanks to that, there's 5 regions according to their languages. You have the French, English, Arabic, and the Spanish. And we belong to the Spanish-speaking country. So in this way, we were able to meet with other publishers from other countries that have an alliance as well. For example, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile. And we have been able to not co-publish, but to do joint ventures, buying rights, buying books,
as a group.
translations.
Is that right?
Incredible. So I think this is the actual future of publishing, because it's not that you need a international publishing mega big group in order to have an author in each country.
Right.
But this way, the author has many small publishers in many different countries. So it's good for the publisher, good for the author, and I think it's going to be a win-win situation if we are...
And then the money is pooled, so the rights are purchased.
Exactly.
It doesn't go automatically to Planeta, who can buy World Spanish.
So
Not to pick on Planeta.
we're buying World, but in a different way.
That's a really interesting fact. And this has happened several times.
And
You've
this
seen
is
this
happening
work?
now. There are several countries that have worked together very well, like Chile, Argentina, and Uruguay, and they have worked as well with Mexico. And right now, for example, I bought the rights to a book written by an English journalist, published by an English editorial company, and what I'm doing is sharing what we have to pay for the rights because it's expensive, and we're sharing the translation cost, and everybody will do their edition, or those who want to share the graphic work and the art, we can share it as well. So I'm very excited with this. We were just in Argentina. We had a very interesting reunion, and we think this is going to shift probably the way small independent publishers can work.
That's a very fascinating development that I have yet to hear about, because it does counterbalance the power of the big groups. So it enables, it empowers you as a collective, and you're not directly competing with your publisher in Chile. Though
No.
Some would think.
No, and many very good authors that you would expect to publish with important publishing groups are preferring to do this because, for example, when a big name or a big author in Mexico gets to Argentina, the attention he would have with one of the major big groups would be like this. On the contrary, when they're published by a small publishing company, all the stamina, the energy, the
They're the number one priority.
exactly.
Okay.
They're not just one of the bunch. They don't need to cover, because somebody in another country said you have to do it.
Right.
But because they believe in it. So it's a very different point of departure, and I think that makes a difference.
That is a big difference maker, yeah. And specific to Mexico, the state of independent publishing, the government is both the biggest producer and biggest buyer of books, which I think leaves only about a third of the market left to the trade.
Yeah, because it's 60%. According to 55, 60%. And we really have like a schizophrenic bipolar situation, because on the one hand it's your number one competitor, and on the other it's your number one buyer. And besides that, we have two publishing companies owned by the state, which is Fondo de Cultura Económica and the Conaculta.
Right.
Fortunately, Conaculta is the last 3 years they have been publishing less, because we have precisely pushed for it, because they should be more in charge of the policies for make people reading, not making books that compete with the publishers, which we think is not right. The case with Fondo de Cultura is different, because it's a very long tradition in publishing, but I think it's time to rethink what they should be publishing, or how should they be publishing, and not just continue because we have been doing it for the last 40 years. And of course they have a very large catalog. Besides that, the bookshops are owned by the state, some by El Fondo de Cultura, and one of the biggest chains is Educal, which is owned by Conaculta.
And so you're seeing that so the independents are a very, very important entity to sustaining and developing and maintaining this bibliodiversity that you
Absolutely.
described.
And
this is very much a Latin American term, bibliodiversity.
Bibliodiversity. It's actually the term used by the International Alliance.
Fine.
And we think that is what we have to fight for, because it represents what we're aiming for,
Represents an ideal.
Exactly. And besides, all these new strategies for publishing among ourselves and with other publishers in the world, I think it is important that we share our public policy strategies in each country. So what has been happening in Chile and in Uruguay is very interesting, and in Mexico we want to replicate this, because it's not only being able to publish, but having the correct ambiance and the laws and what it takes to be able to do what you have to do in order to get your books to the reader.
Thank you very much. This has been wonderful.